Hey YouTube, today I'm going to do a deck profile on my Dudley Spike Brother deck. So this deck is also, I would say, fairly budget in terms of building it. In terms of popularity, I don't know, like, in my area, not a lot of people play Spike Brothers. Currently my favorite Spike Brother deck is my previous one, which is the Bad End Dragger with the Legion. I still think that one has a very explosive capability. I do like the Stride unit that they gave Bad End Dragger earlier last year. But the Dudley one is actually pretty good. Dudley deck, the Dudley build, it's the one that Bushiroad kind of wants people to play because they did give Dudley a second Stride unit now in addition to Geronimo. So this is my take on the Dudley build. It's a fairly fun deck. I do like it because I feel that compared to the Legion one with Bad End Dragger, it has more consistency in terms of how it's similar to the Paladin, like particularly Gold Paladin, in terms of how it can thin the deck, but it's during the battle phase, so it's pretty unique. So this is it. So 2, Demonic Lord Dudley Lucifer. He's a limit break card. Before the new Grade 3 came out, I was running 4 of him and 4 Dudley Jessica, but this guy, he's really good against decks like Granblue Grade 1 because he's a limit break guy. But because of Seabreeze, well, Seabreeze only works against Grade 2. So against Grade 1 rush decks, Dudley Lucifer is still pretty good. I feel like I may return him up to like 3 copies. But right now with 2 copies, he's pretty good. The reason why I'm running only 2 of him is because I'm running 3 of this new card, Dudley Turbo Rappler. Turbo Rappler has a very good on-stride skill that combos very well with the new Stride unit, King of Sadism, Dudley Kali Yuga, so that's the reason why I'm running 3 of him. So you could do 4 of him, 4 Lucifer, that would work fine. That was what I was playtesting for a while. But then I decided to put back in Dudley Jessica. So Dudley Jessica came out in the technical booster that brought the new Batama cards, as well as the Spike Brothers last year. She's pretty good in situations where you don't have a lot of cards in hand to call down. When you stride on top of her, you can search your deck for a card with Dudley and call it out, and it gets 5k. So that's pretty good. But because of the new Stride unit, I feel like Dudley Jessica doesn't really combo as well with this new card. This card definitely feels like it's meant to work with Turbo Rappler. And then a really good backup would be Lucifer because he's a LB4. So he can actually, you know, like if you don't ride this guy, this is pretty good, especially in those scenarios where you're up against those random rogue decks that, you know, like Granblue or stuff like that, for instance. So that's why I feel like 4 of this might be a little bit better, but Jessica's not bad at all. I just kind of wish that she had a rearguard effect or some other sort of reason to run her as opposed to running those 2. But you could also do 4 of her and 4 of this if you can't find Lucifer. Lucifer came out in a Fighters collection a few years ago, back when I think Legion format was first starting out. But yeah, that's the Dudley Grade 3s, and I am running a 9th Grade 3, my 1 Juggernaut Maximum, because Juggernaut Maximum can do some really good rushing attacks early with cards like Dudley Mason and stuff like that. So I feel like, and if you need to, you can use him to stride, but he's pretty good at 1. So you can do 4, 4, and 1 of him, or, you know, like 3, 4, 1 of him. It depends. It's open to how you guys want to play the deck for the most part. But yeah, that's the Grade 3s. So 9 Grade 3s. Moving on to Grade 2s. I'm running 3. This is kind of in the wrong order, but 3 Dudley Douglas. So this is a Dudley card that gets 5k during the battle phase that it's placed on R. So like it works really well with this, the new Stride unit. It also works relatively well with Lucifer, I believe. Yeah, or no, never mind. Never mind. He doesn't call from the deck. Yeah, he works really good with the Stride unit, the Stride units. So those are the plays. That's why we only run 3 of him. The main Dudley Grade 2 though is Dudley Ingram, because he is the one that gains power by himself. So him with the Stride giving power plus the on-stride giving power is pretty good. So definitely for him. The only problem with him is GB1. So Dudley is one of those weird subclans or sub-archetypes that is kind of, it's weird because They have some, the newer cards are GB1, but the older cards are not, so it's really odd. Speaking of an older card that does not have GB1, I'm running 4 Dudley Mason, because Dudley Mason is a really good rush card, because he has a Vanguard or Rear Guard effect of when he hits, you can counterblast 1, choose a Spike Brother from your hand, put it in the soul, and the reason why you put it in the soul is because some of Spike Brothers cards do require a lot of like soul blasting or putting stuff into the soul. Because it is a Dark Zone Nation, it's kind of like Dark Irregulars and Pale Moon, so it has something to do with the soul. So it's a weird way it uses the soul. But Dudley Mason's really good because he could call anything, so you can get Relentless Express out, get extra big attack in, or even better, you can get Juggernaut Maximum. So that's another reason why I would run Juggernaut Maximum. So that's a grade 2s. It's pretty standard. All Dudleys. You want to run as many Dudleys in the deck as you can for maximum consistency. So a quick note, I was trying Dudley Cheers Linda at 2 copies originally, 2 of her and 2 Chairgirl Marilyn. But what I found is that she would be so much better. She would be worth running if either her Soul Blast was a Soul Blast 1 Dudley, but it's actually Soul Blast 2 Dudley. And also, it would be much better in a deck if Dudleys had triggers that actually had Dudley in the name. So currently there's no triggers with Dudley in the name, so that's why I feel like she's not really worth using right now. You can use her at 1 copy and 3 Marilyn, but the problem with her is that she cannot chain a Marilyn off of her effect, because her effect is not like a regular Quintet Wall. Regular Quintet Wall is called top 5 to the Guardian Circle. She like reveals the top 7 and then calls any Dudley cards to the Guardian Circle and gives all the Dudley cards +5, and the rest of the cards, like for instance this, if this is one of the top 7 cards, this just goes in the soul. So the non-Dudleys go in the soul, which is, it kind of contradicts her effect of where she Soul Blasts 2 Dudley. So I feel like it's kind of hard to use her unless you're running either Dudley triggers or some other, you know, like, I don't know, they either made her where it's like Soul Blast 1 Dudley instead. But anyway, you can try running her at 1. I was running her at 2 for a long time. I finally took her out of the deck just to make the deck not have to rely on you know, like randomly calling a bunch of Dudleys. But if you do run a lot of Dudleys, like I'm running, it's not that big of a deal running this card at like 1 or no more than 2 copies. But yeah, she's okay card for right now, but really much better if they had Dudley triggers. Next, 4 Dudley Jetter. He's one of the most important cards for them because he allows you to retire him, and then you can stride for free, basically, if you stride a Dudley. So basically, the only really good strides that I'm running in here. So that's why I'm running 4 of him. That way, he has Dudley in the name, and you don't have to run the stride fodder because of this. Next, 2 Dudley Daisy. Same effect as Dudley Douglas, but she's just the grade 1. And then 2 Dudley Phantom. Basically, when it boosts a Spike Brother, the unit gets 4k until the end of the battle. So it's basically a 10k booster. It has Dudley in the name, essentially. That's basically what it is. So you can hit stuff like 21, 24, those kind of weird numbers. Or 26 with the stride. So, and then 1 Relentless Express, because he works really good with Dudley Mason. Same reasoning with Juggernaut Maxim. So these 2 are at 1 of. I've only ever had 1 of these. They always seem to work just fine at 1 copy each. For the trigger lineup, 4 draws, because you do tend to put a bunch of stuff. You call stuff from the deck, but then it goes away back into the deck, or it goes into the soul, or you put stuff from your hand into the soul. So because of like all that not keeping cards in the hand, I do feel like the draws are warranted in here. I'm not running stride fodder, so you can potentially draw into stuff like this. You could use it to stride. So there's there's reasons for it, but if you want to try 12 critical, you certainly can do that. But I went with 4 draw and 8 critical. So the new Silence Joker reprint, the new heal trigger. They finally got a new heal trigger. I guess they probably got one in the technical booster, but I don't have it. And then Dudley Little Road replaced Mecha Trainer. You can keep running Mecha Trainer if you want, but this guy works relatively well with the Dudley stuff because he stays on the field, and you can like hop him around. So you can put him. The nice thing about him is you can move him to the column that needs the booster the most in the event where you can't really afford to call a booster and you'd rather just call a bunch of attackers. So that's why I run him. So that's the main deck. For the strides, it's fairly straightforward for Dudley build. It's 4 of the new King of Sadism. He's very budget and very easy to get. And also, like, even if you only have like 4 of her, you can even run like a YOLO build of 4 of her and like 12 critical and try to just like kill with this guy, because this guy's actually quite good. From playtesting the deck, I found like this card seems like a very Gold Paladin style card in here. It definitely improves trigger consistency because you're like taking cards that are not trigger. The other thing too worth mentioning about Linda is the thing I didn't like about her was that she can take a lot of your Dudley cards out of the deck, so it's harder to call stuff. But with this, it actually doesn't matter because this thing's gonna look at a bunch of cards anyway and then call up to 3 Dudleys. So there's that. 2 Dudley Geronimo. He's the original stride unit that they got. He's kind of situational in playtesting. I thought he was like really amazing when I first saw him or first read the card, but it's not too bad if you can't find this now. It's kind of an older stride unit, it's harder to find, but it came out in, I believe, the very first Fighters collection that had stride units. So it's a pretty old card by stride format. But yeah, that's basically the Dudley strides. Then I'm running the on-hit stride that came out with Geronimo because I don't really have a whole lot of other Spike Brother stride units. I'm not running Bad End Dragger, so I'm not running that stride in here. And then the new Maxim, so Juggernaut Maxim, G Guardian, and then 3 Cheerleader Airy. So 5 G Guards, because depending on which ones you need, and then Seabreeze and Blizza. So Seabreeze is in here because I'm no longer running 4 Dudley Lucifer. If I was running 4 Dudley Lucifer, Seabreeze isn't really needed because if you're going up against that random deck like, well, I don't know, there's not a whole lot of decks that do GB2 unless the guy is genuinely grade locked and he G assists and he can't find a grade 3, then you can just use this. So this card's in here because I had space for it essentially, and then Blizza is also in here because I had space for it. So you basically stride Blizza at the very end when you've already exhausted like all of your Dudley strides. So you just stride Blizza, he flips up like one of these guys, these on-hit guys, and just swings for a huge number. So if they don't have a perfect guard, they pretty much can't guard it. So anyway guys, that's my budget-friendly Dudley deck. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. What do you think is actually the best grade 3 lineup? Because between these 3 cards, and I'm not going to take out Maximum, but among these 4 cards, keeping him at 1, like, so really the Dudley cards, what do you guys think is the best Dudley lineup that actually works best with the 2 Dudley strides? So anyway guys, looking forward to your comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks.